I don't know if I don't want to run out of time. I want to dig into the IO, the OS formula and talk about his how and his what. Do you want to dive into that a little bit, Gary?
Well, we could. It's just he doesn't know the 9 whys yet. That would be the challenge. So I can let me quickly go through the 9 whys with you, Laverne. And as I'm telling you the 9 whys, I want you to be thinking about, you'll probably say, well, I'm part of all those, or all of those are in me. And that's true. But what I want you to be thinking about is which one of them is how you create trust with people. And lastly, what it is people can ultimately count on from you. So let me give you an example. My why is to find a better way. How I do that is by making things clear and understandable. And then ultimately what I bring is a simple solution. So one of the 9 whys is my why, one of the 9 whys is my how, and one of the 9 whys is my what. So my why is better way, my how is clarify, and my what is simplify. So let me quickly go through the 9 whys with you and let's see what we can come up with here.
Okay.
It'd be easier if we'd had a little more time to do that, but let's see what we can do. So the first why is contribute, to contribute to a greater cause, add value, have an impact in the lives of others. These are people that want to help. They don't have to be the thing. Well, here we go. They're coming up on the screen. So the first one is contribute. Okay. They don't have to be the thing, but they want to be part of it. They want to make a difference in the lives of other people. The second why, which is your why, is to create relationships based upon trust, to be the trusted source, to be the ones that others can count on, right? If you can count on them and they can count on you, the sky's the limit. But if you break their trust, that's a really big deal. The third why is to make sense out of things, especially if complex or complicated. These are people that you can pretty much dump all your stuff onto them and they'll quickly synthesize the problems down to what's actually going on so that you can understand it and move through it. So they help you move forward by helping you solve your problems. The fourth why is to find a better way and share it. These are people that are good at innovating, taking something that's already there and finding better ways to do it, improve upon it. They are always asking the question, how can we make it better? The fifth why is to do things the right way in order to get results. These are structure, process, systems people. They want to get predictable, consistent results, so they follow things that work. The sixth why is to think differently and challenge the status quo. This is Michael's why. These are people that think outside the box. They do things their own way. Who says we have to do it that way? Who says we have to follow the recipe? Let's do it our own way, right? This was Steve Jobs' why, Herb Kelleher, Richard Branson. They all think big, think differently. The seventh why is to seek mastery and understanding. These are people that like depth and breadth and details. They take the simple and make it complex by diving deep into it. So for you and I, it's maybe 3 steps to cook a scrambled egg. For them, it's 28 steps because they know something about every single step. The eighth why is clarify or create clarity. These are people that want to make sure that things are crystal clear. They are fully heard and fully understand, and they fully understand what you're saying. They're the person that kind of sits up on the fence and waits to get clear on what direction to go. But once they're clear, then they're ready to take off. And then the last why is simplify, to simplify or make understandable. These are people that take the complex and break it down to its simplest form, because when it's simple, it's easy to understand and everybody can use it. Don't give them the fluff. Don't beat around the bush. Just tell me like it is. So those are the 9 whys. So your why is to create relationships based upon trust. Now, of the remaining 7 whys, which of those feels to you, Laverne, how you go about creating trusting relationships?
I would say probably number 3, to make sense out of things, especially if complex or complicated, that I see myself doing that a lot, is trying to, diving deep into things, not necessarily to overcomplicate or, like you were saying with number 7, to making a scrambled egg into 28 steps, but rather to, dive into it and really understand it, to make sense out of it and kind of bring it back to something that I can use, I guess, to make those relationships. So.
Yep. Okay, so if your why is to create relationships based upon trust, and how you do that is to make sense of the complex and challenging of the remaining 7, which of those is what you ultimately bring or what we can count on from you?
I would say probably number 4, finding a better way. So, all of it together, you're diving into things really to try and make sense out of it and, present it and build those relationships. But the end goal is to really find a better way or more efficient or just an overall more successful way to do things.
So do you feel more successful when you're able to find a better way or when you're able to find the right way? Is it more important that things are better or more important that things are predictable and consistent?
Uh, can they be both?
Yeah.
So I think finding a better way, as long as it's not the wrong way, and I'm not exactly sure the interpretation of the right way, right? Because everything you want to do, you want it done properly or done right. But there's always that room. Is there a better right way to do things? Are we doing things inefficiently, or can we find a better way to do it? It's not necessarily saying the old way was wrong. It's just not the best way.
So are you somebody that likes to follow structure, processes, and systems? Do you create those types of things?
I would say yes. Yep.
Yeah, because usually if why you're doing it is to create trust, then what you bring is probably something consistent and predictable so that people can trust you. And better way people tend to change things all the time. Are you constantly changing things, or are you looking for something that's more predictable?
Now that we go more into it, I would say probably the way you're going is to do things the right way or more predictable, like you're saying.
Yeah, that's what. So if we were to look now at your why and your how and your what, tell me how this feels to you. So my why is to create relationships based upon trust, to be the trusted source. Now, how I do that is by making sense of the complex and challenging things that we face. And ultimately what I bring is the right way to move forward and get predictable results.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. I mean, Mike knows me too. I don't know if he has any comments on that as well, but.
No, that sounds spot on to how you do things. What's really unique is Laverne is the one that has been with the company the least amount of time. So we've spent some time together, but just in that, that sequence, you can see that come right out every single time with what you're doing.
So Laverne, if I had you on my team, I would now understand your thinking and I would understand your decision-making process. So your why, how, and what are also your decision-making process. So for you, it's if I had an idea that I wanted to present to you, if I came and showed it to you, but it doesn't really create better relationships with people, it's not really that logical, and it's not going to get us predictable results. How do you think you'd feel about that idea?
I would be okay with it. I probably wouldn't be, all for it. I think, I'd rather do it kind of following the what and the how that we
So
just
you'd be
talked
okay
about.
if it didn't create predictable results or trust?
I wouldn't be against it necessarily. I wouldn't be all for it though.
Yeah. So if I said, hey, Laverne, let me show you how this is going to create better relationships with our clients. Let me show you how this makes sense. And let me show you how this is going to get us predictable, consistent results. Now, how do you feel about it?
Much better. You probably could convince me of pretty much doing whatever.
Yeah, that's your
as long as we do it that way.
decision-making process. See?
Yep.
What's
So-
great about this is that, oh, sorry, Gary.
No, go ahead.
Well, in the work that we do, Michael and I, in coaching, and I'm sure you've seen, Laverne, is this whole notion of disagreeing and committing. right? As a leadership team, you come into the room, you each view things, big decisions for the business, through these filters, right? This YOS filter is going to be your primary way that you're evaluating things. And a lot of it, it's unconscious up until today, up until now. Now that as decisions are being kicked around the leadership team, these are the filters you're applying to the issue at hand. And when we as coaches invite the leadership team to disagree, what we're really asking them to do is take a look at the issue, in effect, apply this YOS to it, and, say your piece, right? Get it out on the table. Let's talk about it. But finally, when we ask you as a leadership team to speak with one voice to the rest of your organization, when we've decided that this is the way we're going to go, right? You as a leadership team need to speak with one voice. But what Gary is talking about here is, this is the process that in effect you're going to be going through as you're evaluating and debating with your fellow members of the team. And as a leader in the company, your ability to know this about the other people on the team and their ability to know this about you is really good, because if you are being asked to commit to something, somebody who is in a leadership role on your leadership team, if they were smart, they would be putting this decision in the context of how is what we're about to do, when they're talking to you, Laverne, how is what we're about to do, how is it going to create relationships based on trust? How does it help us make sense of our world and our clients' world in a better way? And then how is this the right way to move ahead? Because if they can speak to you in that language, you're going to be much more prone, it seems to me, to understanding the issue and being able to actually commit to it coming out of that leadership team meeting. And so, that again is sort of the power of having this knowledge, not in a manipulative way, but how do I speak to Laverne so that Laverne really sees this issue through his three primary filters.
Right.
I think it goes hand in hand with, once you start to do these things with every member of your leadership team and your family, then it really starts to help you to understand, that your uncle's going to want to hear it differently than your father's going to want to hear it, than your brother's going to want to hear it. And if you can filter those pieces through and help people to get there, we can get on the same page faster. That's one of the things to think about through the last 18 months of working there. A lot of times there's lots of ideas and lots of discussion, but making that commitment to say, let's move forward all together isn't always easy. And that's one of the things that we've been working on, in putting those together. Everybody gets a voice. Now let's move forward.
I often say to my